Hey gamers, thanks for tuning to Fire Chicken Review, where we love to talk about, fire? Of course, and decks and new style of decks. Okay, so the KeyForge Facebook group may be blowing up with people showing their decks, so hey, check out one of my decks. You may find it interesting, and I'll be showing a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the cards. But that's not what we're actually here for today. What we're here for is to show keys. Not one, not two, but 3 keys and a few other tokens, of course. And these tokens are actually from a company named Aurbits. And if you've heard of that name, or if it rings a bell, it's probably because they've been making tokens, custom tokens at that, for other games that are fairly big within FFG, such as Star Wars Destiny, and another really big one, and unfortunately FFG lost the rights to, which is Netrunner. People still love running nets. It's still a great game, and I recommend checking it out if you've never heard of it. But getting right into it, I have these 3 really beautiful keys. And what's interesting is when you look at them, and I'll pull one up here closely, you can see the nice shine. It almost looks like it's made purely out of metal. When I saw the tokens online, I thought, oh man, these are really nice thin metal tokens. I wonder how they made them so thin. But then you hear them clanking together, and you probably shouldn't do this with your set, but when you hear them clanking, it doesn't sound like metal. It almost sounds like acrylic or poker chips, really, when you're dropping them on top of each other like that. I'll stop messing around. But what actually, when I contacted the company's owner and I picked his brain, he informed me what it's actually made of is, yes, it does have some metal, but it's actually a fiberglass copper mixture with some gold plate in there, all intertwined together, which is the first I've heard of the token. A little bit too sciencey maybe for my brain. Basically what it comes down to, it's in between your cardboard tokens that you can get with the core set, and a nice set of metal tokens in between prices, but a high quality token set nevertheless. I should also mention, with all the tokens I'm going to be reviewing really quickly here, these were all gifted to me. I don't have a bias with that, but just throwing that out. Speaking about the keys themselves, the reason why you see the 3 colors, the red, the blue, and the yellow-green here, which is supposed to just represent the yellow, is because just like the core set, FFG has said that the key colors are going to matter. So it's always nice when you see the custom tokens going along with what the game is supposed to do. For the initial set of the game, it doesn't really seem to have any type of interaction with it in the first set, but we'll see what happens later on. As far as the keys go, these keys are actually beautiful. They're about the same size as the cardboard tokens, and I apologize, I don't own a core set of tokens because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of custom reviews. I'll probably borrow ones in the future, and can show later videos of these tokens if there's interest to see them compared to the cardboard ones. As you can see, like I said, it's really shiny. It's a little bit harder to see. I don't think I'm going to be able to zoom in. I'll try here. No, I apologize about that. I was trying to zoom in on the edges, but the edges almost look like cardboard to me. But that's actually the fiberglass copper intertwined, like I was mentioning. And again, a little bit too sciencey for me, so it's a little bit over my pay grade. But it's really interesting because when you pick this up, like I said, I thought it was a metal token, especially when you see the shine to it. It's much lighter than I would expect from a metal token. It's a little bit heavier than a cardboard token, but not much. Like if I was to compare some tokens, which I'll do later on, you'll be surprised just how lightweight it is and how easily, this is my Ultra Pro bottom of my box I put all my tokens in. And as you hear it, it sounds like it's just like poker chips. Actually, all the tokens, and I'll show later on, fit in this box quite nicely. So one of the pros right away from this token set is just how small, like how little room it takes up. So you can throw this all into your token box of wherever you carry on you, and it's not going to be too heavy. It's not going to take up too much room. Yeah, so just like the other keys that you would expect from the core set. These keys are double-sided. There's been a small complaint, and I have to share that complaint with the players that have been buying this first edition of these tokens, is that this is the unforged side. If you've played KeyForge, you recognize that you really want to have a nice, distinct unforged side, and this is the forge side. And if you don't understand what that means, basically within the KeyForge, you want to collect 6 or more amber at the beginning of your turn, if you still have that amount of amber, or wherever the cost of the current key is. You'll forge a key. So flip from the unforged side to the forged side. And as you can see here, the unforged side for this key just doesn't have the ambers that are embedded inside the token itself. And when I say amber embedded, there's not actual amber or anything like that embedded in these tokens. But on the flip side, it's basically the same image, except now the amber is showing there, and it pops out a little bit more, and you can see, like, I call it, like, it almost looks like it's like a electricity in the background. Everything's starting to flash, everything's looking cool, and I really like this. It's kind of interesting, and I like the level of detail and just how shiny this nice token is, and it feels kind of interesting, like I was mentioning as well. It's unfortunate that this set, that the unforged side doesn't have as much of a distinction. Talking to the owner of Aurbits, they mentioned that they're doing a second wave of these tokens, so it's going to be actually a little bit harder to get this set. But in the second wave, these key tokens are going to have a little bit more distinction. So going over, just showing a comparison for all of these. Basically, these are just all mirrored image of the 3 different keys here, which is nice. So you just have the 3 keys, like I mentioned, having the same image in just 3 different colors. So this is the unforged side. Like I said, the colors really pop out. I like the blue, I like the red. I'm not as big of a fan of the yellow. I think this lime green color, it's just not for me. I think it would have been nicer if the yellow was a little bit of a different color. Again, their second set wave that they're talking about, they mentioned that the color variation is going to be a little bit different. On the flip side, again, I really like the forge side. And when I have the keys next to each other, so if I flip one here, it's a little bit easier to see what's been forged and what hasn't been forged. My recommendation, if you pick up this token set, and these are quite nice ones, is that instead of having all 3 tokens in front of you like this, for the ease of players, especially when you're playing in tournaments, I'd actually probably put your tokens, your key tokens, to the side and only place the forged ones out once they are forged, just making it easier for a person or a player to know that, yeah, there's a key there, you must have just forged that other one, and having a stack of them left to the side so you can just flip over when you need to. Getting into the level of details, like I was mentioning, they're all 3 of the colors are just, they're all mirrored, they're all the same image. I think the image is quite interesting. I can tell, maybe as the viewers, you can also tell that the designer gets a lot of inspiration from Netrunner, because a lot of this feels very digital to me. It feels very electric. I don't know, maybe I'm using the adjectives that don't fit in with the way you view it, but I feel that this has that hint of Netrunner within it, which is very cool, because you can have that within KeyForge. It probably fits along with one of the groups, probably this middle one here, Logos. It would probably fit in really well with running nets. But yeah, it feels very mechanical, it feels very electric, and I like the design. I think there could be a little bit more detail within it that can make it pop out a little bit more. I think the actual amber, it'd be nice to see if all the ambers, I do like that each amber on here is not the same. It's actually like different pieces of amber. Like you can see the design art is a little bit different. It would have been nice just to see a little bit more color in each one of these. And as I was mentioning with the yellow one, I probably will have got rid of that green because the green is a little bit off-putting to me. I'm not sure what I would use for that secondary color instead, but just to have just a little bit better color variation, because it's almost like a puke green to me, and I apologize about that, or a pea green if that sounds a little bit better. The yellow's not too bad, but with that green, it just doesn't do it for me. I do like the Forge side. It does pop out, and so do all three of the keys here, so that works out well. And well, if we're talking about keys, you need a way to actually, forge a key. So let me get out my card here again. And, let's start putting some amber on it. And you're like, oh, amber. So here we go. And if you didn't know, amber is spelled A-E-M-B-E-R. The intention with this game was purposely to come up with a unique way to spell it. So here is the amber that comes with this token set. It's kind of interesting, and when I say kind of interesting, it's actually really cool. One of the things that pops out right away, again, it's very low profile. It's extremely flat. Like all these tokens are all the same size. Like they're only a couple of millimeters for thickness, which is super cool that you can just place these all in your deck box, no problem. One of the issues, as you can see here, though, is I find that these amber pieces, they're massive. They're actually quite big. Again, talking to the designer, the Wave 1 tokens are pretty much all sold out. I apologize about getting this review in a little bit late. There was some postal strikes within Canada, so it took an extra 2 weeks roughly to actually get to these tokens, and there was nothing I could do about it. Getting back into this though, as you can see, these just take up so much room. Like if I was to put out like just 9 amber, it's going to take up all the space on my board here. So the designer, as I was mentioning, is going to make these pieces, they're going to look exactly the same, but a little bit smaller, which I think is perfect because these ones are a little bit too big. That being said, there's nothing wrong with having tokens a little bit big and give you a close-up view, and I apologize about blinding you here. They shine really nicely, and yeah, they're pretty cool. I think it would have been interesting again to have just some variation within the amber, because they're all the same here. It's all the same token, which makes sense. But it would be cool if just like the game, like, and just like the key itself, like as you can see, the amber in here, each one is a different shape and different size. It would have been nice if a little bit more of a variation within the amber instead of having just all the same pieces. But obviously for a price point, it's much cheaper just to have the same image and same style. But these are going to look great on your board, nevertheless, even with them being a little bit bigger. What else do I have to say about these? You gotta be careful, as you can see, and the designer talked about this. Please don't take my forensic identification with that fingerprint that you can see on here. So that's another thing. These are very glossy, I would say, or very shiny. So you want to make sure that, and I think this Aurbits mentions within their webpage that I'll be linking below, that you will want to take rubbing alcohol to wipe off any types of marks like that. As you can see, that fingerprint is sticking on there a bit. So yeah, you just gotta be careful with your tokens to keep that nice shine onto them. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for these ones, though, is that they're a little bit big, but that's fine because, some of the tokens your opponent's going to have trouble seeing. Not these ones. I think your opponent's going to easily be able to tell how much amber you have out on the board, and you're going to be flipping those keys in no time. The last thing that I want to show everyone here, I'll take a little bit of, a little sneak peek. I hear Hunting Witch is a good card, followed by maybe a Niffle Queen. Let's get out a second one, and why not? Let's have some 5 Niffle Apes. So this is my crazy deck. If you didn't see that deck name at the beginning, definitely check it out. It's really interesting here. Check it out online because you can upload your decks if you weren't aware. And here you go. Yeah, that's just a little bit of a sidebar. I can't believe I have 5 Niffle Apes and 2 Niffle Queens with a Hunting Witch. Very cool. But the actual reason I wanted to show this is that if you had this crazy combination, well, your guys are going to start taking a lot of damage. And Aurbits has your back with that. They're going to make sure that you get these very cool damage tokens. And I just have nothing but good things to say about this. I like the style. It reminds me a lot of Star Wars Destiny damage tokens, which again, this company does make a set of those if you're interested in. These aren't the set. This is just the cardboard ones I wanted to show. If I can put it on my hand here. So these are the cardboard ones for Star Wars Destiny. And the only reason why I'm showing that is that, again, you can see how much shinier the 3 is. And on the back, what's super cool is that you can just flip it over, unlike these cardboard tokens. Just flip over these tokens, you get the 1s into the 3s. And you can see on this token here, like I was saying, it almost looks like it's cardboard, but it's not. It's that fiberglass and copper that I was mentioning. Yeah, these tokens, super cool. I love the metallic shine that they have on them. I love the fact that you can flip it over. I think it would have been nicer if the 2 colors of red here were a little bit more different, just so you have a little bit more popping here. Just I would have tried out a little bit more color variation. And I think also it'd be nice, and something that the designer can do later on, is it would be nice to have different color options to match maybe the different houses that you get within. But as far as going and putting it on your board, they're going to look nice. You're going to flip them over. And these are easy. Like, I don't have too much to say. Like, they're just going to look great. Yeah, I think these tokens will do the trick. If you're going to pick up nothing else from this company, definitely pick up these damage tokens. They're some of the coolest ones that you can pick up, to be honest. I would use this for a variety of games. And it may be just a simple little aspect, but being able to flip your 1s into 3s is super cool. A little bit nitpicking, but if I'm going to flip it, no, it works for me. I mean, you're flipping it like this, where normally I would like to flip it like top down, but I'm a weirdo like that. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I was given one of these tokens here just to represent as an in-between for the moment. If I can get the image to focus. No, don't want to focus. That's fine. I'll put it down here. So I was given one of these tokens, which is actually Aurbits tokens that they sell for Netrunner. But it was something that players can use in the in-between time to represent stun tokens, or to represent a power token, just like that. Just a fairly cool token replacement. They are planning in the future to be making some power tokens, some stun tokens, as well as armor tokens, and a few other cool little nitbits, depending on how popular this is going. And speaking about popularity, by the time this video is uploaded, like I mentioned, wave 1 of these tokens are pretty much all sold out. Wave 2, the biggest difference is that these amber tokens are going to be a little bit smaller, which is super cool. The color variation will be a little bit different for the forged and unforged side. And speaking about the unforged side, the owner of the company has mentioned that he's doing some great work right now to make sure that the unforged side is easier to notice and to be able to tell the difference. And I think if I was the designer, one of my recommendations is just, yeah, make this side a little bit more plain. Just make it even more plain than it is, or darken the colors so it's not as bright on this side as it is on this. And that's my review for Aurbits tokens. I'll be linking below their store page as well as their Facebook. And of course, if you want to check out Fire Chicken Review, like, subscribe, check out our Facebook group. If you have any other tokens that you would like to see, let us know. And let us know in the review if you've actually picked up these tokens and what you have thought of them. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye now.